everyone. Lindsay Price here from Theater Folk, and I am thrilled today to be talking to Jeffrey Harr. Hello, Jeffrey.
Hi.
We're going to be talking about Jeffrey's fabulous play, Stereotype High. But before we get there, let's, Jeffrey, tell everybody where in the world you are situated.
I am in Kent, Ohio.
Kent, Ohio. How's your weather? Are you
really good today?
We're good today. That's all that matters, right?
Yep.
Today, good.
You never know about tomorrow, but today's good.
I'm in the same boat, exactly the same boat. And you are an English teacher, yes?
Yep.
How long have you been a teacher?
28 years.
28 years. Okay. Yeah. So how does that feel 28 years later?
It's still pretty cool. Yeah, I'm a little older, but you know, still love the kids, still love the job, so it's all good.
Well, I think that's all that matters, isn't it? Like if you're still loving what you do. But aside from English, you also and you are attached to the drama department. You're an assistant.
Right. Absolutely.
So what does that feel?
Well, been doing that for 15 years, and it's a lot of fun. You know, high school kids are great. Love the creativity, and you know, the kinds of kids that we get in the drama guild are like the best kids, you know, in the school. I mean, they're the most creative, the most interesting, and they do a wonderful job. I mean, it's awesome.
It's amazing. It's amazing what they can come up with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these kids are like amazing. The dedication that they have to, you know, doing theater is I don't know, it just makes me feel better about the world just hanging out with them, you know.
You know what? I think that's what we need right now, right?
Absolutely.
Just being in your small world about thinking that the world is going to be okay.
Right.
Now you wrote Stereotype High and for these students, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. And, yeah, quite a while ago.
And what was that? Why did you write for them? Have you been writing for them for a long time? What was the genesis of putting this play together?
Well, we kind of we have a 1X festival that we do, and back in the day when I was first getting started with it, we were always looking for, you know, good plays, and I thought I can write some of these. Why not? And you know, you're right there with the kids. I mean, what's a better situation than that? So I just started writing a few here and there, and then they ended up, the kids loved them and they went over really well. And so Stereotype High kind of ended up being some of those 1X kind of strung together. But it's just, you know, it's so gratifying to write something and have your actors like right there, you know, doing it and being able to kind of tweak it as you go, you know, and that kind of stuff. It's absolutely phenomenal. So.
Well, it's the thing that I think is hardest to impart on student writers, this idea that you just don't write something and leave it on the page, that it has to actually be worked and reworked and reworked. And I think that I love the plays that we have that are written by teachers who work the plays with students, because we know it's battle tested.
Right, right, absolutely.
We know that it's not only we know that it's an appropriate content-wise, but that it's actually stageable. And I think that for us anyway, I mean, that is the biggest thing we want, is we want stageable plays. And we also want plays with teen protagonists and teen stories that are that have resonance for them. And I think that above all else is what Stereotype really brings to the table. Did you what was the feedback like when you guys first performed it?
Well, the kids really love it. You know, one of the things they always say is, you know, I'm looking for a meaty part. You know, I want monologues, you know, that kind of stuff. They want to feel like there's a real character in there somewhere, because, you know, we've all done those plays where, you know, the parts are kind of sketchy. There's not much to them. You know, they just kind of walk on, walk off, say a couple of things. And so I think they really liked that the characters were so well, you know, well-rounded, fleshed out. They had something to kind of really latch onto with it. And the, you know, the humor, I mean, kids love to do comedy. I love comedy, but, you know, with a heart.
Well, that's the other thing that is so great about Stereotype High is the the humor that some of these the scenes are. I press pause. I'm just showing the website right now with the page on it, and the first thing that strikes out at me is the character Anna Rosa Rosemarie, and just the uniqueness of each of these characters, the specificity of each of these characters. Fighting stereotypes. Why was it important to write a play about characters who fight stereotypes, particularly teens?
Yeah, being a teacher for so long, this is what you see every day. These kids, they kind of put themselves into little categories. Teachers do too. I mean, everybody does to some degree, right? We all see teens as certain types of people, and they're not. I mean, your stereotype isn't you. And so, these kids have so much more going on inside of them than what we kind of see. Like, you look at the dumb jock and you think, oh, the kid's just a meathead, but meatheads want love too. They want, relationships, and I thought, what if we just kind of explored the other side of that a little bit, in addition to the stereotype, which everybody is familiar with, comfortable with, and they're kind of funny on some level, but they can also be really sensitive too.
Well, I think that's it's this whole notion of identity, which I think now more than ever teens are struggling with as we get into this whole conversation about gender.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, who are we? Who am I? And more than anyone, I think teens have to fight this notion of being typed. Right? And put in a box that perhaps they didn't choose for themselves, or if they want to change. I think teens who want to change who they are, mm-hmm. I think that can be the most difficult struggle of somebody who maybe in grade 9 is one thing, but by the time they get to grade 12, they see themselves differently. They see themselves as something else, and people will not let them make that change, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Teachers are like that too. Kids will come to me and say, I'm having a problem with, Mr. So-and-so because he doesn't, allow me to be, this, that, and the other thing. And you would think all the adults would be, they're educators, right? You'd think, oh, they'd be cool with this. No, I mean, you think about how difficult it is for these kids just to get through a day like that. It's tough. So if we can do something with that, awesome.
And I think theater is the way to do it. Personally, I think that when our goal is primarily to show, particularly students, but to show everybody that they're not alone.
Right.
I think that theater, more than anything, all a kid needs to do is sit in the audience and see someone like them on stage, and to realize that, oh, you mean someone else has actually had this thought and put it on paper, and that means maybe I'm not as big a freak as I think I am, or that I am told that I am. It's really interesting. We're having an interesting struggle right now. We have a play called Dark Light, which is about depression and anxiety, with an administrators really fighting to allow productions. And it's like, well, that's great. Well, no, that's not great. That's not great at all. But to avoid talking about this subject, what do you think you're doing to these teenagers? All you're doing is telling them that they're alone, and that their thoughts and their feelings don't matter.
Yeah. So, we say that all the time. You got to talk about stuff. And theater is a great way to bridge that. Just like literature is too, you're not the only person who's been through this, but to see it, I think, is even so much more powerful than literature in some ways, because, you get to see it acted out. But that stuns me that people, especially administrators, are just like, no, we can't talk about that. That might actually, help someone.
I know. Well, and there's a little bit of that in Stereotype High too, because there's a character who is identified as I'm not even going to say the word, just in case applied on Facebook. And it's like, but it happens.
Yeah.
It's important. And that's another reason why, sorry, I got hair in my face. And that's another reason why we wanted Stereotype High in this catalog, because it's the act of putting on a play is very important. So the light and the fluffy stuff, and the humor. There's many scenes in Stereotype High, and we also publish some of the individual scenes just on their own because they're just so lovely, right? And I pulled up the big play, and I didn't pull up all the other little plays that we. Hang on. I'm gonna get you to talk, and then I'm gonna pull it up so that we can actually talk about those as well.
Okay.
But the humor is important, and the likeness is important, but it's also important to have plays that people can just turn to and see themselves and in struggle and not in fluffy light situations all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, life's not fluffy all the time, especially for teens.
Imagine that. So what would you think, what would you say would be, oh, I know, tell me about some of your favorite moments. What's your favorite moment in Stereotype High? And I'm going to find other stuff.
Boy, that's really hard.
Try.
Yeah, one of my favorite things, and when we did it at our school, my daughter got to play the girl you were talking about.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing to see that. This girl goes to the gynecologist's office, which is, hella uncomfortable to begin with. And then she runs into this kid from school, which is, every person's dream come true. And this is like the last kid in the world that she wants to see there, Andrew. And he's like the freaky kid, and they have this, I think it's an amazing conversation where he is super sensitive, non-judgmental, and they have this really kind of tender moment between the two of them. They don't know each other at all, except to see each other at school. But he is so, I don't know, just really sensitive about like the whole issue. And she opens up to him. And I think this is like the best of everything right here. If we get a couple of kids who can meet each other in a place has nothing to do with, anything other than just two people who are having their own separate little issues, but kind of helping each other work through it. I love that scene. And there's an older woman in the office too, who's like eyeing him the entire time. Cause every time he talks, she's like, what are you guys doing? Talking about this in a waiting room. You should not be doing that. But I think it's really sweet. I like really sweet scenes like that are kind of heartfelt and honest. That's one of them. I don't know. I love that scene. I like the movies too. Two kids on a blind date, and
the movie we have we sell that just as a single script as well. I think when you hit it on the head, honest and humorous and honest, I think really go hand in hand. I think they're lovely.
It's not slapstick. It's these are real issues. I mean, some kids go through pregnancy scares, and other kids find out sometimes.
It's I think that teens more than anything, all kids more than anything, they can smell when you're being fake, and they can smell when you are trying to present like you're their friend, or you're presenting characters who actually don't exist in their world. Right. And we're always looking for writers who can present teens as they are, in whatever situation they might happen to end up in. And I think that's what Stereotype High, really, really has in spades. So we also publish a number of the scenes because they're just lovely vignettes. The Anna Rosa Rosemarie scene, which is you can't make them laugh, make them cry, better than the movie, which is the first date, building blocks. Master of Puppets, that's the one that I was thinking about a senior class couple trying to communicate, and just great interesting characters, really easy to stage, like it's just really a character-based play which deals with the real issues of teens with a lot of humor but a lot of honesty. And I think that's what makes it a very, very special piece. And I'm not just because I'm on the page. I'm also going to plug your Close Encounters of the Undead Kind, because I love this piece. Again, it is small plays. that sort of look at this theme of Close Encounters of the Undead Kind. It is the perfect play for a class project for October. We know so many people who do class plays in that end of October slot, Close Encounters of the Undead Kind. Go to theaterfolk.com where you can read sample pages, and you can also read sample pages of Stereotype High. Jeffrey, as we close up here, what would be your one piece of advice for someone producing this play?
Just have fun with it, you know. Like you said, it's not hard to stage. The scenes kind of move in and out really quickly, and just have a good time with it. Let the kids be themselves, you know. I don't know. I laughed a lot.
That works.
Laugh. Have a good time.
Have a good time. Have a good time. And let the scenes speak for themselves. I think that there's nothing extra you have to put on these scenes other than to have great discussions about the characters and let them speak for themselves, which I think is exactly what teen theater should be, because it's about your actors' experiences, your audience experience.
Yeah.
It's got all that and more.
Let them do their thing.
Let them do their thing. Exactly so. So that's Stereotype High by Jeffrey Harr. Theaterfolk.com. Sample pages, read them. There are production pictures. Have a look at them. And it is, if you're looking for that meaty piece that is not your teen angst play, that is not your fluff piece, but that has a wonderful base in humor and honesty, you can't go wrong.
You can't.
Right? You cannot. Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, Jeffrey.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. All right. Bye.
Bye.